Hey guys, and welcome back to Vectorman. We're on a treadmill, because why not? Warhead's trying to kill us, because of course, if you fall off the bottom, you die. And you can move the treadmill forwards and backwards by moving over the buttons. It's a super short level, and really, if you're fast enough like I was here, you won't even need to manipulate the treadmill at all. Moving on.
I'm trying to wonder if there's any spare space left on this cartridge, because these extra levels where Warhead is just trying to hit you out of nowhere, they're super fucking short.
Yeah, I kind of like the variety. Like, some levels can be medium-sized, some are super long. They tend to, come middle to end of game, which is cool, I guess, it's scaling it. But some are, less than 30 seconds long, or, just a minute, which is, for variety's sake, it's kind of nice. And all the levels have kind of, badass names. This one especially, Death Alley.
I do like this ability to turn into a car here. I kind of wish he did it more often. It'd be cool if you had some of the transformations just be, readily accessible whenever you want. I think that would add a lot to, not just, Vectorman's gameplay, but the level design as well. Because, again, look, this is level 1, done again.
Let it go, Helldragon, Jesus Christ. Ugh. Mosquitoes, how do we feel about buzzing enemies in games, or really small winged enemies?
Well, I think we all know how I felt about that, and I think I've said that nearly enough. But I believe, actually, those mosquito enemies, since Vectorman clearly is fond of reusing assets, I believe they actually show up in the second game, because the main thrust of the second game is when Vectorman crash lands onto a planet full of these alien insects. So, of course, he's fighting a lot of buggers. Yeah.
I think you may have got that wrong. It may be that they come to Earth, but don't quote me on that. Again, haven't played the second game. That was Death Alley. Pretty short.
Wow, really? I was expecting at least a boss. Huh.
Really weird fire extinguisher type enemies, but they have teeth, and they look silly, but they can be super annoying if you let them start moving about, and they'll turn up from Death Alley onwards, so you gotta be careful. Another water level. Only in terms of aesthetics this time, though, so no crazy jump physics here. Just keep moving to the right. It's a really simple level.
Well, most of the stages in this game are move to the right, don't fuck up, stupid, you know. Although, again, I know at the time, like I said, because this is the Sega Genesis, they had to make do with what they got. I love the multiple use of layers here, and how they've spaced out, these tanks and these fans up at the top with this really neat scrolling effect for the time. It looks really good, and I still kind of mark out over it today because of, how they had to do it back then.
I think someone posted a really neat GIF on Twitter where it showed all the multiple layers of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and people harp on that game for being kind of grainy and, Sonic's model not being as good as 1 or 2, but I dig it. I think it's I think it's the best looking game out of all three. Fight me IRL if you disagree.
I was also thinking about those power-ups being in, Warhead's surveillance TVs, but I noticed all of them are ones that make Vectorman look stupid, like the drill. So maybe that's his plan. He's gonna make Vectorman look so stupid that the enemies will feel better about trying to kill him.
Not even sure how to describe this thing. I guess it's like a pink and blue, really small Vectorman enemy team. It's a weird enemy, but it is kind of dangerous. Your best bet is to just, get a few pot shots in, and then double jump over it. Remember, thrusters are your friends here. Get to the other side of the screen and start attacking it. When it's in its humanoid form, like you can see here, that's the best chance you get to just, rapid fire.
Man, looking at all these enemies made of balls, I'm starting to remember the fighting game Balls. You ever played that, by the way?
It's a very kind of vague sort of name, mate. No, I don't really go looking for balls. Balls just seem to happen upon me, sadly.
That's true, there's a ton of balls here. We don't need any more balls. Some of these balls are even blue, and better blue than black, is what I'm trying to say.
Please stop. Can't even finish my sentences anymore. You are a curse.
No, but I mean, just, quick explanation. Balls is a really bad fighting game where everybody is made of, balls. And it was also in 3D. Strangely enough, Vectorman took that angle and seemed to do better with it, so I don't know.
I don't know, Vectorman's got a very kind of simple design. It looks like he's wearing shades here, but for the most part, he's just shapes, and that's it. Kind of similar to Rayman, actually.
Okay, we just did this level, come on.
Shut up, Helldragon, you petty arsehole.
But I mean, calling back to his design, yes, it's very simple, but with the way it's arranged and, just the right little touches of color, it really still stands out to me after all this time. I still think Vectorman is really cool, and why the fuck, by the way? Why we're bringing this up, Because, you know, recently, the crossover event for Sonic and Mega Man Worlds Unite that ended, where the fuck was Vectorman? I guess Sega doesn't own him, and okay, that makes sense. But still, where the fuck was Vectorman?
Yeah, because, you know, they weren't in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, but a lot of people associate Sony with Crash and Spyro.
That's true, so I understand why, but at the same time, man, I just wish Vectorman came in there and just fucking wrecked. Okay, well, everybody jobbed in that ending, apparently, so I read a little bit of it. I was disappointed too, so I kind of understand what you guys were having a problem with.
Point was, we want Vectorman in the next PlayStation All-Stars. Okay, nah, I'm just kidding. Got a little bit of graphical trivia now, if you don't mind me going on for a little bit of a spiel.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is a fairly lengthy stage, so I've decided to write up a little bit about, you know, the graphics and such. Raster, Warhead's original name, is based on raster graphics, a dot matrix, and I'm taking this strictly from Wikipedia right now, a dot matrix data structure representing a generally rectangular grid of pixels or points of colour, viewable via a monitor, paper, or other display medium. Raster graphics are the opposite of vector graphics. The use of the use of geometrical primitives such as points, lines, curves, and shapes or polygons, all of which are based on mathematical expressions to represent images in computer graphics. Vector graphics are based on vectors, also called paths, which lead through locations called control points or nodes, and that's where my wiki knowledge basically ends.
Vectorman truly has done what Nintendo didn't. So I guess that makes Raster an NES boy.
We're at the end of the level now. It's a fairly simple one, this super structure. It doesn't really deserve the name super, just call it basic structure.
I don't think normal structure would be a very good, interesting level name. Just call it level, or tall level, or long level.
Big Tower Zone.
There you go, something like that. I mean, Sonic's familiar.
Oh my god, now that I say, like, Tower Zone, it reminds me of one of the levels in Knuckles Chaotix. I can't remember which one it is, but it's basically a huge tower. Alright, this level's silly. Okay, apart from, like, the disco-esque nature of it, these tornadoes, I think they don't hurt you, but they'll just, like, bounce you around. All you have to do is wait until the hole in the barrier opens up and shoot the shit out of this guy. Very, very tight time limit, so just take whatever damage you can and wail on the guy.
Yeah, this is just a really strange level. It comes out of nowhere, no explanation. We're at the same level again. I mean, wow.
Jesus Christ, Helldragon.
Okay, though, that lightning in the background, that's actually really cool. I like that.
Oh, this music track. This bloody music track. It was also used in level 3, and okay, I'm gonna have to give this to Helldragon. They reuse music for certain stages, as well as like...
Oh, now you finally admit that.
Alright, I'm giving you your dues, okay? Just let me say my trivia piece.
Alright.
The OST for Vectorman is great, even if they do reuse certain tracks, and level 3 and level 12 was always one of my favourites. The OST was done by John Holland, and that's Jon, by the way. He did Vectorman's soundtrack, and he also did Vectorman 2's. And that's about it, really, which is a shame, because the whole musical style of the game is really great. It's like either bouncy and electronic, or I guess it's electronic in every sense, but mostly in, you know, tracks like this, or, you know, quite dark and atmospheric, like in the later levels. It just suits the graphical style perfectly.
Oh yeah, definitely, like, you know, the Sega Genesis will always be sort of remembered for having the quote-unquote inferior sound processor, you know, at the time. I mean, we've seen proof that it can do some very complex music when restricted by the console. But if you want deep, fast stuff or, you know, funky electronic cool shit, Vectorman is definitely your game, and it really shows off the best kind of music that the Sega Genesis was known for at the time.
Bass is a great way to put it, actually, because, oh my god, it does bass wonderfully. Nowhere is this more evident than in the Mega Drive version of Earthworm Jim in New Junk City. Try comparing it to the Super Nintendo version sometimes. They're both fine, because, you know, the basic melody is great, but I feel it works better in the Mega Drive version.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. I wonder if he rust. Well, he probably doesn't rust, I guess. He wouldn't be very much of a robot if a little bit of water just made him stop.
Dude, his job is to chuck toxic sludge into the sun. If he's a robot that can rust, I doubt he'll be, like, suitable to go on deep space adventures.
Yeah, that's true. This is enough of a different level. Like, they do kind of replace the background shit we've been seeing with, like, you know, ruinous structures and things like that, and it's different enough to be kind of an interesting new level.
Not really sure what interest Rasta or Warhead has in, like, deep, dark, Sandopolis-style ruins, but, you know, I'm not a crazy, maniacal Warhead. I can't go to the places or programs he does to get such results.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's run some studies. I'm not sure what a Warhead would do to run those kind of studies, but I'm pretty sure he has people helping him out. I don't know. I guess sometime if I get my hands on an ICBM, I'll just strap it to my noggin and I'll tell you how that turns out.
Yeah, you could be General Stinger Missile or some good shit. You saw back there, and that was the last Mega Life Orb in the game, by the way, so kudos if you got them all. I sadly didn't. It was never meant to be a 100% run. The game's hard enough as is, to be honest. Back there, you saw me actually slowing my descent by shooting, which is really cool. It feels good, and it you know, it works well as well.
Yeah, we got some advanced Vectorman tactics here. Man, we need to put together a VHS of Sega Genesis stuff so you can mention that. And I just love those shitty old VHS tapes full of, like, the game tips and things like that. Like, I remember seeing one for, like, you could send this in after you got Lunchables. And you're a brave soul, by the way, for eating Lunchables so you can get your hands on that tape.
Oh, man, we've all been through that kind of trial. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, I remember, like, one time I went to this national park, a lagoon or whatever, and I had Lunchables for lunch, because I wanted it super bad.
And it was the end of the part, so we're going to have to finish this reminiscent tale next time. See you next time for the finale of Vectorman.